And we're live with episode 1.
All right,
Recording. Episode 1.
/recording. Not even really live /recording, just recording. Unless we're being
I mean, we could be live
streamed
streaming.
live to the internet, which would be unsettling, to say the least.
As long as, if it's monetized, we get our fair share of that, I'm okay.
I don't think that's going to be how it works if we don't know about it, but, here's to wishful thinking.
Yeah, you can imagine.
So anyway, you saw that Barstool Sports post about the pick 2 to defend you and the rest is going to come kill you, right?
I did, yep.
So we were all immediately submitting our answers, and I love these games. These are some of the most fun things I see on Instagram that Barstool posts, because they've had a few of these too. Where, this most recent one seems to be kind of like the action movie star game. So let's go through the one. They had 12 characters on there,
yep,
with a couple of really odd choices, which I'll get to in a second. And then I jotted down their list, and I added 2 in that I think are more deserving to be on the list and to be discussed, because really what you have on here are bona fide action franchise stars.
Right.
And I felt like that was missing 2 notable names. So anyway, so you want me to just read the list of the one that was on the original?
Yeah, let's just go through the list,
Barstool?
and then
okay.
We can discuss our choices there.
Yeah, and we'll discuss our initial choices. So the initial Barstool Sports one, the list is as follows. Basically, Hobbs from Fast and Furious franchise, who's a savage. Jack Bauer from the show 24, which I've never seen that show. Heard it was super popular. I think he's kind of a badass in that show. I really don't know. I've never seen it. John Wick, the Baba Yaga.
Yep.
Nothing more needs to be said. Private Upham from Saving Private Ryan. Seems like a weird odd choice.
I got words to say about that.
Yeah. So we'll get to that in a second. Jason Bourne, obviously the star of the Bourne series, absolute savage. The Bride from Kill Bill, absolute savage.
Yep.
Brian Mills from the Taken series, who's a badass old man. John Rambo, who has killed 1 million people.
Yes, he has.
Maximus from Gladiator, who, come on, what else do you need to say about Maximus? John McClane from Die Hard, great fucking character. AJ Soprano from The Sopranos, another really odd choice. I'll get to
Very
that.
odd.
And then The Mountain from Game of Thrones, which you still haven't seen yet, and you need to fucking see.
I have not seen Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
We'll
You're like
throw
one
that
of the
disclaimer
5
out
people
there
in the
that
entire country who
I
have not seen Game of
Thrones.
Thrones. So a couple of initial thoughts before we give our answers. 2 really odd picks. Upham from Saving Private Ryan and AJ Soprano from The Sopranos. And you haven't seen The Sopranos, but let me just tell you, AJ Soprano on The Sopranos does not belong on this list. He's not a badass tough guy. His dad, Tony, was.
Well,
but he's just kind of like a moody teenager throughout the entire series. I really don't know why he's on.
So that takes me to Upham.
Right. Oh, yeah, take it away with Upham.
Because
yeah.
We're in the 40s. We're World War II. These teenagers are like, yeah, fuck it. I'm going to go fight for my country. I'll probably die in a really shitty condition. I'm going to storm the beaches of Normandy.
Yeah.
I'm going to drop out of planes on Normandy and try and meet up on D-Day. He survives D-Day. He gets assigned to the team to go save Private Ryan.
Yeah.
This little bitch hides the entire movie. Is crying, is scared the entire movie. And at the very end, the guy that he fought to save kills another one of the Americans.
Yep.
While he could have killed him. So he saves him as he, you can say quote unquote saves him as he's coming down the stairs and he's crying with, the belt of ammo around his neck.
Yeah.
Then he hides in a fucking foxhole.
Yep.
As the Germans are storming towards the bridge, just crying.
Yeah.
He somehow miraculously just gets all this courage. At the very end, pops up and is, speaking German, telling them to halt.
Yeah.
And he runs into the same guy they let go. And then all of a sudden he pops off.
Yeah.
You think I want him to save me? Up him.
Which is why...
Come after me.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for laying out all of that. Because when I saw it, I was not exactly sure. Because it's been a while since I've seen Saving Private Ryan. Great fucking movie.
One of the best World War II movies out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I looked at his picture on the Barstool Sports post, and I was like, is that the character I'm thinking of? Who you just described doing the thing on the stairway leading up to the room, and he's got the bullets, the chain of bullets around his neck, and he's holding literally an armed gun.
He's holding his M1,
and just watches the guy walk right by. Right after he knows that this guy has just killed 2 of his comrades or his friends. So all of that aside, I saw that and I was like, what? So I think the only thing that I could imagine them adding him and then AJ Soprano into this mix is just like a kind of a funny, like, oh, you got John Wick, Rambo, and then this fucking guy.
Yeah, I mean, so like Rambo is a Vietnam vet.
Yeah.
And now Vietnam vets are like, in my opinion, some of the hardest and most mistreated people out there.
Absolutely.
And obviously we all respect our armed services. So you got John Rambo who comes back to a country who doesn't like him because he was there when he shouldn't have been, but it wasn't his choice to be there. You have Upham, who probably said, yeah, I'm going to join the military and go fight in World War II. And then he cries when he's in war. And Rambo, on the other hand, is like, let me kill every person I can see. Oh, I'm going to come home to a country that mistreats me. I'm going to kill you still because you mistreat me and you think that I'm coming into your town to ruin it. I'm on my way home. I just want to be back in America.
I think they're in this. Whoever designed this little game for the post that they had, I think they threw those 2 characters in there as like just giving an excuse to those people who are like can't resist being trolls, who are like, because the game is pick 2 to defend you, the rest are going to come try and kill you. There's someone who immediately hopped in the comments once they saw this and they're like, all right, my 2 are Private Upham and AJ Soprano. Just to be funny. I can't think of another reason why they would put them in this mix because it doesn't make literally any sense. Because imagine for a second, you're holed up in your house. All these badass assassins, war veterans, whatever, are coming to kill you. They have the explicit mission of murdering you. And the 2 people that are at your front door or hidden in your house somewhere trying to defend you are AJ Soprano and Private Upham, the guy who bitched out in the coolest war movie ever made.
Right.
Dude, John Wick, Hobbs, Rambo, they're going to slice through those 2 guys in 4 seconds and murder you without a second thought.
Well, but here's a thought for you then that probably people don't think about. So you got to pick 2 and the rest come to kill you.
Yeah.
So what if you have Upham that's, say John Wick is fighting, Hobbs coming up the door.
Okay.
John Wick kills Hobbs, and you have Upham crying on the stairs when he's trying to bust into your house. And he just let Hobbs die when he could have busted in the door, shot John Wick, and now you're down to 1 guy. So what if we go back to the whole movie, and Upham is crying on the stairs when he's supposed to be in there attacking you and trying to kill the 2 guys that are protecting you? So, I mean, it's just pretty much just like a free kill. It's like, Upham's on their team. Like, send him in.
Oh, okay. I wasn't exactly following what you were saying, but you're saying if he's on the side of he's coming to kill you,
right?
It's a joke.
It's a joke.
Don't worry about him.
And if I'm on, if I'm Hobbs and Upham's on my team, we've got to breach and clear and get the 2 guys you pick out.
Yeah.
I'm gonna shit my pants if I'm Hobbs. I'm like, I don't want this guy backing me up.
Right.
I don't even want him typing my report.
This guy, yeah. This like secretary.
Send this guy to the library to guard a book.
Yeah.
And even then, he might not do it.
Yeah, I was joking earlier. We were talking about this game, and I was like, if Upham was sent to kill me, I got a lot of confidence in myself that I could kill Upham. He's not intimidating at all. Neither is AJ Soprano.
No.
Unless for some reason AJ somehow managed to hire some of his dad's hitmen or something.
So
but that's not allowed within the context of this game.
So then you say
if
it's his
just
name.
This moody teenager showing up at my door, come on.
Right. So for Soprano, it's literally just his name. You're like, oh shit, if I kill him,
his dad
will come after me with endless resources and money and
guns.
But
for the immediate problem at hand, it's just a moody teenager.
Right. So he'll flip open his flip phone because I'm assuming this was I haven't seen Sopranos either, but I'm assuming it was filmed when flip phones were still a thing.
For sure.
So he flips open his flip phone and calls Daddy.
Yeah.
All right. Well, he's already dead. John Wick sniped him.
Yeah.
Brian Mills is behind him breaking his neck.
Yeah.
Rambo's pulling his throat out.
It's a non-issue, yeah.
Maximus is killing him.
Yeah.
He killed an emperor.
Yeah.
Maybe Upham and him could fight each other out, and who knows? It could be a good fight.
I think the funnest thing to see would be if someone picked Upham or AJ as one of their 2 to defend them, and then the other guy, one of the other was on the other side of coming to kill that person, and then you got to watch a battle between Upham from Saving Private Ryan and AJ Soprano. Because that would be entertaining.
That would be an entertaining battle.
Like, which of the two little pansies out of this entire group is going to win this battle, you know?
But it could be a battle that goes on forever, because you could have Upham crying on a staircase, and then you could have Soprano calling his dad, and his dad's not picking up.
Yeah, there you go.
So they could just sit there for hours.
Right. And meanwhile, you got, like, John Wick and Jack Bauer going at it, and exploding half the city and all kinds of shit. Just
because one guy killed another guy's dog. Like, it just escalates.
Yeah. I think, okay, so I think we should finally arrive at our selections when you first saw this. Because Sam had the same exact reaction I did when I saw this, and it was like, out of this group, easy choice for me. So picking 2 out of this group to defend me, easily John Wick and Jason Bourne, and I'll explain why. John Wick, I think the number one thing you have to think of when you're considering him within the context of this game is you definitely don't want John Wick coming to kill you. That's a serious fucking problem. I think if there's one thing that they've established through 3 movies thus far, is if John Wick wants to kill you, he's gonna do it.
Oh, 100%.
There's no issue there. Like, he's going to do it.
He's got 100% success rate.
Yeah, 100% success rate. So I definitely don't want him on the opposite side of coming to murder me. So let's just get that out of the way. I want him on my side. Plus, he's a incredibly lethal assassin. Like, the most... He's the Michael Jordan of the underground assassin world in that whole franchise.
Oh, yeah.
Like, everyone knows John Wick. Like, he's that badass. So, okay, obviously out of the way, number 1 pick, John Wick. Number 2, I went with Jason Bourne because Jason Bourne, if I'm thinking of, like, you know, they're establishing this as some sort of like a game where it's like a countdown, and they're like, okay, you've picked your 2 guys, the rest are coming in to kill you in 5, 4, and they count down, and then we run off with, you know, it's me and my 2 guys, and we run off. Yeah. I want Jason Bourne on my side because Jason Bourne did nothing throughout that entire franchise but hide from government agencies who were explicitly trying to find him.
Right.
So he's an expert at just disappearing into the crowd. So he could take me and be like, hey, John, I got Zach. We're going to go fucking disappear in Venezuela somewhere. And then, meanwhile, you just leave John Wick to go do what John Wick does and just pick off slowly but surely all these other guys.
Right, so you got your personal bodyguard.
Yeah, you got a personal bodyguard.
You got your personal, like,
and then the assassin,
forefront assassin
like, right,
who's just, like,
who's
chilling there,
on the offensive,
watching everyone run by him, and he just shoots him.
And then
moves on.
If anyone does make it to you, you know, which is, it's going to take them forever to find you because Jason Bourne knows how to just disappear like a ghost. If they do find you, it's Jason fucking Bourne. Like, he's going to kick the living shit out of whoever shows up, or most likely kill them, because that's all he did throughout that entire franchise as well. So anyway, those are my 2 cents. Those are my picks.
I mean, I don't know, though, because Brian Mills, he literally traveled to a different country to find his daughter who was taken.
For sure. Like, there's no... You can't understate, like, how much of a badass Brian Mills is from that franchise. And I have actually only seen, like, to be honest, I've only seen the first movie. I haven't seen the second 2. But, dude, what a savage. He's just old. I mean, like, the only thing about him is he's a badass old guy. But, like, I got a young Jason Bourne and a young John Wick.
Yeah.
I feel good about that.
But, I mean, like, I also look at it, and I kind of... So, my picks were John Wick. So, same obvious reasons.
Right.
Guy's just a born killer.
Yeah.
And John Rambo.
Which is a fantastic choice.
Dude came home and was being hunted, you know, it's in, you know, what, the late 70s or whatever. He's being hunted by local authorities. He goes into the woods and fashions all these traps, kills all of these deputies, disappears, you know. He's used to fighting in a guerrilla warfare.
And
like
being
he
on his
fought
own.
in Vietnam and being on his own, with no one supporting him.
No backup.
I look at all the other Rambo movies.
They get progressively more insane, for sure.
You know, you look at the new ones. All right, the original 3 were great.
Yeah.
You know, he fights Russians.
Yeah.
Just out of the blue. I mean, he fights Americans.
So which one is it that he's over in the Middle East and he's fighting the Russians? Is that like 2 or 3?
I think that's 2. Because then I believe 3 is when he goes back to Vietnam with, like, the private group, and he finds POWs still in camps in Vietnam.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. I've seen all of them, but those 2 get kind of confused.
And then he gets old as shit and moves to Cambodia or wherever, or Burma.
Yeah.
Or, like, on the, you know, border of Burma. And then leave it to some, you know, group of people that want to go and save the sick in a country that you don't go into.
That's the one with like the missionaries, right?
Yeah.
And like they want him to be their personal escort in or whatever.
Right. Take him up the river,
Yeah.
and then
That one's a good one, dude.
And then-
that was like kind of like the remake almost, where it was like
Right.
a long time after the third one had come out. That one.
so
that
case in point, you
yeah.
got Rambo going into this
that
country.
movie, Rambo, complete and utter war machine.
He's going against an army,
yeah, literally an entire army.
an entire army, and at the very end, he rips a guy's throat out.
yeah, yeah.
So I think to my head, I'm like, I don't care. The mountain could come in, but Rambo's just gonna rip his throat out.
Yeah, dude. I think. Sorry to. I'll let you continue on your Rambo rant, but
He's
I
great.
think the problem with including the Mountain and Maximus in this discussion is like, if you have
It's a
guys
sword against a gun.
right? If you have guys that are from medieval times or ancient times when all they had were swords and spears and shit like that, going against guys with modern weapons, it's over. Like, I don't give a shit how intimidating the Mountain is and how scary he is as a swordsman, or Maximus. John Wick's gonna shoot him in the head from fucking 300 yards away. Like, he's not even gonna get close.
Yeah.
It's a joke.
But I think you could use it as a personality, because my other one would have been John Wick and Maximus. Like, imagine
Okay.
you and
That's an
Maximus
interesting
in like a vault where someone's got to
Oh,
open
so
the doors,
close
come
combat.
in, and Maximus is just chilling there, and you're like, "Yeah, open the door, bitch."
Yeah.
And one, they can't get in because you're in a blast-proof vault. But then you got Maximus just wielding a sword.
Okay, here's a question for you. How do you feel about, if it comes down to it, everyone else has been killed off, it's you and Maximus, he's protecting you. Hobbs makes it into the room. He has no weapons, no guns. Or, okay, he has no guns, but he has like a big-ass knife. Versus Maximus in his armor with a sword. How do you feel about that?
The thing is, I get the game is they're coming to kill you. Hobbs isn't coming to kill me. He wants to arrest me.
That's true.
He's
He's too much of a law enforcement.
He's a law
agency
enforcement guy that wants to arrest me and take me back in handcuffs. So he's going to come through the door. I don't think he's trained to deal with a knife like
Or a
Maximus
sword.
is, or a sword.
Yeah.
Maximus literally was born and raised
Yeah.
to lead the armies of the North.
Right, and fighting hand-to-hand combat,
Hand-to-hand combat
with swords and
with a
knives.
sword and knife. That's what he was bred to do.
Which
Now-
is a totally different type of warfare.
Now I think we could take Maximus out, and I think we should revisit that later with another idea I have.
Okay.
So going back to Rambo,
Yeah. Sorry, I interrupted your Rambo.
I don't know if you've seen the newest one. Like-
No, I haven't. Sam told me about it, and he said it's fucking awesome because it's exactly what you want from a Rambo.
Right. So Rambo fights an army in
Again.
Burma.
Oh, no, you're talking about the other
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
Okay.
And now in the newest one, he fights a cartel.
Oh, okay. So isn't the plot of the new one like he has a daughter, right? And then she gets abducted
So
by
it's
a
his
cartel or something?
niece.
Oh, his
and
niece, okay.
she goes down to talk to her dad in Mexico.
Okay.
And, he advised against it. I believe it's her grandma advised against it.
Okay.
So she goes down there and put her trust in the wrong people, and she ends up getting drugged and being used as like a sex slave.
Okay.
So being Rambo, he's
Right.
not just going to chill
Not
and be
happy
like, "Hey,
about
someone go look for her."
Right.
He's going to be like, "I'm like 90 years old. I'm strolling into Mexico
And I'm going to kill everyone.
after I've completely booby-trapped my private property
Yeah.
to where they're going to come in, and I'm going to kill everyone on my private property."
Yeah.
So, I mean, you got to watch that one, and I don't want to, give you any spoilers, but that helped me make this pick because if I'm hiding from someone or people are coming to kill me,
Oh, that's a good, yeah. Okay.
John Rambo
I
is
see what you're
a
saying.
dude that knows how to booby trap shit.
Right. So he could just lure people in, have them fall into these booby traps and get killed. While he
mean-
doesn't have to do anything.
I mean, watch the newest one, and you'll understand, like, my thinking that went behind this was solely if I'm to be protected by these guys, Rambo is going to protect me.
That's a solid pick. That's a
And-
really solid pick.
And I don't think you can go wrong with John Wick or Jason Bourne. I feel like Hobbs is a good pick, but I feel like he's just muscle. Like I think he's smart, but he doesn't have like amazing gun skill. He doesn't have like that ability that just outreach and completely ruin your day. He's more
Yeah.
of I'm a big dude. I'm gonna body you.
Right. Get in fist fights, throw people around. Yeah.
And so it becomes one of those like, Luke Bauer. Okay, you're on a TV show. I just lose respect for you because you're on a TV show. It might be a great TV show. I'm not bagging the TV show or the character, but come on.
I was gonna say, I would like to add a a preface to this as to say neither of us have seen 24.
Right.
So
it's a biased opinion.
Yeah, we don't know
that.
shit about Jack Bauer. He could be a totally badass character, and I'm under all impressions that he is a badass character. But out of all of the characters on this list, and especially the ones that I have the most familiarity with, he is just an afterthought. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not worried about Jack Bauer.
And like John McClane, he's an NYPD officer. Again, not a guy with crazy skills or anything, just a guy that gets himself in really shitty situations.
He's just kind of a dude.
And gets out of the situations. Yeah. And a lot of it, in my opinion, is he just gets lucky.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. A lot of it's lucky.
And, I get their movies and everything, but get past the point of, oh, it's a movie, he's going to have to. No.
Yeah.
Get to the point of, all right, I'm invested in the movie like it's real life.
Right.
A lot of this shit, he gets lucky with.
Yeah. Oh, well, and John McClane is, like, he's totally admirable. And, like, the Die Hard franchise is a badass franchise. He's a great character, but he really is just a guy who, you know what makes him so effective in those movies is he just never stops.
Yeah.
He's just relentlessly always on your ass. And it's like one of those things where if you were the bad guy in one of the Die Hard movies, you're like, is this guy really not dead yet? Like, how have we not gotten rid of him?
Constantly hunting you down.
So that's, it gives him a lot of, I mean, how do I want to say this? Like, he's not to be totally dismissed in this conversation, but I just think when you're dealing with the likes of, like, John Wick, Jason Bourne, Rambo.
I mean, those are all guys that went out and killed,
Right. I don't think he's got the juice to hang with those guys.
And that brings me to another point when it comes to Brian Mills from Taken. I don't want him protecting me. There's 3 Taken movies. It literally says in the title, Taken.
That's a really good point.
Every single Taken movie, something gets taken.
Yeah.
So he's not good at protecting them.
Brian Mills, not a great record of protecting his family.
Great record. Well, if you haven't seen all 3 and you want to see the third one, I would say he's got a great record of getting them back. But
great at getting them back, but I don't want to get taken by
John
Wick while he's
the whole
supposed to be
point
watching
of this
it,
is they protect you.
Right. Yeah.
And
like, hey, man, the point's not wait till I get captured and then come get revenge on me. I'm going to be dead at that point. I don't give a shit. Protect me.
Right. And so
when John Wick comes knocking at the door, I need your help.
I guess he's good when it comes to protecting you if he's there, but if he's not around, like, you're fucked.
Right.
Which means, but that also comes into a reverse point. If he's coming to kill you, he's good at tracking you. So he's going to find you.
He's very relentless.
But so it's like, catch 22.
Yeah.
Do I get taken? So then he kind of gets out of the situation, but then he can find me really fast.
Yeah.
And then he's got a unique set of skills.
Exactly. So he's got the relentlessness of John McClane combined with, like, excellent skill set of, like, hey, I'm what was he, like, former CIA or something? I don't know if they ever really even explicitly.
I think he was in the military, and then I think he went. It's like special ops. I think he was a special ops kind of guy. I think he did. Yeah. So it could have been CIA special ops type stuff, or it could have been military.
So, like, dude knows his shit, and
he's got a team behind him. You got to remember, his friends are a solid team.
I was gonna say behind
him.
That's why that first Taken movie is so great, is because it's basically like if they made a Jason Bourne movie when Jason Bourne's it's like 30 years in the future. Jason Bourne's retired, just kind of trying to live his life. He's out of that life now or whatever, and something happens that kind of brings him back into it. And he's got this set of skills where he's this ultimate badass guy, and then he's pulling on these contacts from these, like, government agencies like the CIA or whatever to help him, track people down. Because that's what that movie's all about, is, like, Brian Mills is calling up his dude who he used to, presumably work with in the CIA, who's like the guy on the computers who can track people down.
Then he's got a contact in France who he knows his daughter was in France. And
who's head of, whatever the government agency is over in France that does what the CIA does, like he knows that guy who's like the head of everything.
So he's got his contacts.
Yeah.
But he still has those skills that makes him scary when he comes across you.
Right.
Because he, again, fought, a sex trafficking cartel or whatever you want to call them. He fought them, and he killed a lot of them.
Yeah.
Pretty brutally.
Yeah. Also tortured people to get information.
Also does not care about your feelings.
Yeah.
He's going to torture you.
Brian Mills is
because you stole
badass.
his daughter.
Did you know they made a TV show, actually,
about... but I haven't watched it.
I haven't seen it at all either, but it's supposed to be about his younger years, which I was kind of bummed about when I first heard that, because I was like, part of what's so cool about the Taken movies is you don't know his past.
Right.
You know, when he answers the phone or whatever, and he's like, I have a particular set of skills.
Yeah.
It's terrifying because you're like, this dude's like, 60 years old or whatever. Like, what has he done that is like,
or seen
yeah,
in his life?
What has given him the ability to track me down like this?
Well, and like
it's all kind of shrouded in mystery, which what makes it like so cool. Which is why another series, the John Wick series, part of what is so badass about the John Wick mythology is that you don't know his background.
Right.
Like, you didn't see what got him to the point of, like, when he walks into the Continental Hotel, everyone's like, oh shit, that's John Wick. You know?
I mean, they start John Wick with him being retired.
Yeah, he's already done.
And then
he's out of the life.
Some asshole has to come in and you kill his dog.
The cutest fucking puppy ever, too. Such an adorable dog.
You know, you could have taken the car. Yeah. You could have literally done anything.
He might have been all right if he just stole the car and left the puppy alone.
Because the puppy was doing nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't like an attack dog. And then all of a sudden, dead.
Well, and you know, not only was the puppy adorable and it was his puppy, but it was the puppy that his wife had sent him, knowing that she was dying from cancer or whatever it is that she had, and that was like her way of giving him something else to love once she was dead.
Because at first he didn't like the dog.
Yeah.
And then when his wife truly passed.
Right. And then he started kind of getting used to, like, oh, this is this puppy that I'm now going to love and raise and all this kind of stuff. And he started to care for it. And then that's when he got killed. And John Wick was like, all right, motherfuckers. Like,
well, and the guy that kills the puppy goes and tells his dad and was like, yeah, I did this. And his dad goes, wait, who?
That was the greatest.
And he goes, John Wick, and he freaks out. And he wants to kill his own kid.
Yeah.
But he's like, I got to protect my kid. And I'm like, you should have just killed your kid and saved yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, at that point, you're like, hey, you fucked up. You deal with it.
Dude, that first movie, there's so many great parts of when they're, like, leading you into the story right after his car's been stolen, right after the dog's been killed. When he initially takes the car, he takes John Wick's car to that chop shop or whatever. And that guy who runs the chop shop is John Wick's, like, old friend.
Yep.
And he punches the guy, like the gangster guy's son, in the face or whatever when he finds out that it's John Wick's car. And then, like, later there's that scene where the gangster guy calls him on the phone or whatever. He's like, I heard you punched my son. He's like, I did. And he goes, can I ask why? And he goes, well, he stole John Wick's car, sir, and he killed his dog. And the guy just goes, oh. And just hangs up the phone.
And he just knows. He knew at that point, he's like, I can't retaliate.
Right, like, oh, fuck. Okay.
He's like, I got to try and pay him off.
Yeah.
Oh, the dog was priceless? Oh, you're fucked. You know, at this point in time, you should have just killed yourself because you're not safe.
Yeah.
Or go stand in the middle of a field, just flat, and be like, listen, I should be able to see him. He can't shoot me from like 6 miles away. I should be able to see him.
It's not going to matter. You're fucked.
Just take it like a man.
You're fucked.
You killed the dude's dog.
I probably would have just driven to John Wick's house and be like, I'll just make it easy on you.
Yeah, I
hey,
would
listen,
just...
I'm sorry. My kid's a prick.
Here he is.
Here he is.
Don't kill me.
If you want to kill me too, that's your prerogative. I can't stop you. Do what you want, man.
Yeah. But that brings me to another point with this whole thing. And it could be off topic, but like you said, you can't really have Maximus in here, and you can't have the Mountain here. Because you got a guy shooting a 50 cal at a guy that has an iron sword.
Yeah. Like, what's that guy going to do?
You know, his armor's not... They don't even know what a gun is.
They don't even know what guns are.
They don't even know that shit becomes invented 1,000+ years later.
Right.
They're just sitting there going, hey,
like,
I got a nice sword.
Yeah, like Maximus and the Mountain stroll in thinking they're the big dicks on the block with their swords and stuff. And, like, then they see a guy with, you know, a 50 caliber sniper rifle or a shotgun. And they're like, what is this magic thing you have? You know, what is this alien weapon that just sawed through my friend or whatever? So I'm sorry. What were you going to say?
So I was just going to bring some more people into this.
Okay.
But eliminate some.
Which is what I did too.
So you can keep like Maximus, you can keep the Mountain. But then what if you brought in, you know, like William Wallace?
Oh, okay.
What if you brought in, I can't remember his name, but from The Last Samurai, whoever Tom Cruise plays in The Last Samurai.
Yeah, okay.
You know, not him having his guns, because he does have guns in that movie, but him fighting like a samurai. I'm like, you know, even just those 4 guys, and I'm sure you could bring like Robin Hood if you wanted.
Well, you know who else you're forgetting too about badass sword fighters is Aragon from Lord of the Rings.
Or like Aragon. I mean, you could bring in anybody from Lord of the Rings into this conversation, or you could just do a whole Lord of the Rings by yourself.
Yeah.
be like, okay, you can't have Gandalf because he's a fucking wizard, and that's just a cheat code.
Which is what's funny. Like you're kind of starting on that thing that we tried to do a few years back on Twitter. Remember where we had that bracket we built out of like
the best sword
fighters, which is a cool. It's like one of these games, except for there's no one in it with guns.
Right.
It's all just sword fighters. Yeah.
It's straight sword skills, man.
Yeah.
Say that 5 times fast. Fucking sound like an ass. And you just, I mean, I don't know who I would pick because, like, samurai swords, like the katanas, are so sharp, and the samurais are such a deep-rooted, like, heritage in Japan that those guys have been around for thousands of years. But then you have Maximus, who's just like, the only way you kill him is by cheating.
Right. Like Roman Empire general who's been in the field cutting people's heads off, stabbing them, all that kind of shit.
And then you have William Wallace, who's trying to lead a bunch of Scotsmen against
to their freedom,
the King of England.
Yeah.
And that's back when England
that ruled the world, basically.
Ruled the world, or started to rule the world. And you could have like Robin Hood, who goes against the king, but Robin Hood's more of like a sneaky guy. He doesn't necessarily like have those like sword fighting skills.
And wasn't he kind of more known for like bow and arrow stuff? He's more of like a marksman.
He used a sword, but he's not. He doesn't have that, asset of, oh, drop the sword, let me pull out my drop the bow, let me pull out my sword and just.
I personally think Robin Hood would get his ass handed to him in a fight with any of these dudes.
Yeah, unless he was allowed his bow and arrow. But even then, you can be like, yo, Legolas, take him out. Yeah. And then Legolas just, from the top of a damn elephant, takes him out. And you're like, all right, well, dope.
Dude, speaking of, God, we're talking about Lord of the Rings characters. Those movies are excellent. They're all on HBO Max now, and I want to go just binge watch all of them. I haven't seen them in a few years, but they're so good.
You can't go wrong with Lord of the Rings.
It's so good.
You can't go wrong with The Hobbit.
Yeah.
I like The Hobbit because they did such a good job of playing that whole series out.
Yeah.
But what I don't like about it is, like, the Lonely Mountain disappears in Lord of the Rings. The mountain did it just blow up? Like, I know I didn't read the books. This is purely based on the movies.
I haven't read the books either. I would love to, but I haven't read them.
So did the Lonely Mountain just disappear? Or did we, like, move Middle Earths? Like,
I don't know.
It brought in more questions to me. It's like, well, where's all this other shit?
Yeah. I think a lot of what people complained about with the Hobbit movies is the use of CGI.
Yeah.
Because they didn't use near as much CGI in the original Lord of the Rings trilogy, and all those action scenes look a lot cooler. Yeah, there's one thing that throughout, movie buffs who will go back and watch movies that have been made in the past and compare them to movies that are made now and stuff. I think one of the things that most people can agree upon is using practical effects more often than not versus using CGI more often than not always looks better, because the CGI just inevitably doesn't hold up as well most of the time moving forward, because just technology just advances too fast. Like, the most amazing looking CGI looks like shit most of the time 10, 20 years later, versus like you watch Jurassic Park came out in 1993. Most of that was practical effects and animatronics. It looks amazing still.
Well, and you can make the argument with like Star Wars.
Yeah.
All 9 of those movies came out in different decades.
Yeah.
You got the 70s, which, let's not downplay the fact that those movies were made in the later 70s, but they were made in the 70s.
Yeah. So for their time, they look incredible.
They were groundbreaking movies with CGI. And that CGI is CGI that a bunch of dudes around a table were hand-moving shit with a background.
Right.
Or making
like
shit
those
with
scenes
clay,
where the Death Star got blown up and stuff. If you ever see the behind the scenes of how they did that, it's like literally just this little model,
and then just gets blown up.
And them like having like some guy just holding like a ship on a stick or whatever, and he's like moving it in front, and they make these little mini explosions, and they have like a background for their special effects.
It took so much work.
It looks hilarious.
And I'm not saying CGI now doesn't take work, but you look at the 1, 2, and 3 of Star Wars. The CGI
the
in that's not terrible.
It's considerably better. Yeah.
And what, those were made, I think Phantom Menace came out in like 99 or something like that.
Yeah, it was like late 90s and then through the early 2000s.
Because I think the Sith. Why can't I think about
Revenge of the
Revenge
Sith.
of the Sith? I wanted to say the Return of the Smith, but or the Sith. Holy shit, words. They're hard. Stay in school, kids. But you look at those, and I think that came out in 2005, and those weren't bad movies.
Yeah,
like,
no.
The acting might have been.
They
bad.
get a lot of flack. I think the scripts were not as good as they could have been, but I still love them. I mean, you know me, I'm a Star Wars guy, and give me any amount of Star Wars, I'm in for it. So I think the originals are better movies, but then those prequels look better.
I think the prequels, in my opinion, look the best.
Yeah,
I think
they look really good.
I think the most recent three, I like the Return, the Rise of Skywalker,
Force Awakens,
The Force Awakens, and The Last Jedi. I feel like they overdid CGI. It just looks too fake in some things. And
it goes back to what I was saying of like that's what everyone's main gripe was with those Hobbit movies, which I loved.
Right.
But everyone was just like they're really overdoing it with the CGI, and especially and that's another series where the originals did not use a ton of CGI.
Right.
So then the new ones, if they're using a lot of CGI, you got these fans who are fans of the original films, and they're like, "What is all this CGI? Like, it doesn't like."
It throws it
off.
looks.
It ends up looking kind of cheesy in some parts, you know. And it's same with Star Wars. If you're comparing that to the original trilogy, where they use all these practical effects and stuff, you're like, it just doesn't look as good.
No.
And what I always hate is like a movie like Rise of Skywalker will come out and it might look amazing in 2019, but what happens when we see that movie in 2050?
Right.
You know, what's it going to look like? Is it going to hold up as well as A New Hope does today? Because you can still watch A New Hope, and like, while you look at it and you're like, wow, this is kind of cheesy for what we have now, it still holds up really well. Like, it looks good for what they had.
And I
at
think
the time.
you always have to look at when it was, first produced. You have to think going back to the 70s, and now people in 2050 that weren't around now are not going to have a clue what happened in the 70s.
Yeah,
they're going to sit here and be like, well, I don't know what happened in the 70s. Why didn't they have this? It's like, because it's the 70s. Like, come on.
They just didn't have it.
We were born in the 90s. But the movie with CGI that I focus on the most, and I feel like you can't compare it to any movie, is Avatar.
Yeah.
That shit took 10 years to make. So in the 10 years that it took to make, the CGI changed every year.
Uh-huh.
But that movie was flawless. And they're still making the sequel.
Yeah.
Sequels.
He's planning like 5.
Right. So he better like have all 5 completed. Otherwise, we're gonna be dead.
Yeah.
And he's gonna be dead by the time that the 5th one's supposed to be released.
That's a really bizarre story because that first one, like you said, took like a decade to make or whatever. It came out in 2008.
Yeah.
And it's
Phenomenal
2020.
movie,
we still haven't seen the sequel. He's supposedly been working on them since that first one came out. Here it is 12 years later, still no Avatar 2. And yet he keeps saying, oh, no, not only am I planning Avatar 2, but I'm planning Avatar 3, 4, 5. It's like, that's a pretty massive undertaking there, James Cameron. But I guess if anyone can pull it off, it's James Cameron. That guy's made the biggest blockbuster movies.
But then in your head you go, at what point did we go too far? Like, I mean, that movie, for when it came out, could you imagine if that came out now with 4K, like the Ultra HD and everything we have?
Which I'm sure they probably re-release it every once in a while for new, like, 4K
they update
stuff.
it.
And
But I'm just saying
TV
that movie, when it was released, was the movie of all movies, in my opinion.
It was one of the most visually stunning movies ever created. Still is.
Right,
Still
and
is.
I'm not saying like it's the greatest movie ever, but like you said, it's one of the most visually stunning movies that it's like you still watch it and you're like, how, like, I can't find a flaw in that movie. There's no like little blips where I'm like, holy shit, that's so fake.
Yeah.
Everything just looks natural.
Yeah.
And I know it's not.
And the entire world is CGI. It's not like a lot of movies where the Marvel movies, you have most of the world where they're shooting these scenes and it's in real world locations with real stuff, and then there's some CGI going on. It's like the entire world of Avatar is CGI. Everything you're seeing is green screen.
Like, besides maybe when they're in like their little, container.
Yeah.
Outside of that though, like the entire world it's fake.
Yeah.
Which it doesn't look fake at all.
It looks incredible.
Every amount of detail put in that movie was just, I mean, I could sit there and watch it. It's so long, but I could
really
watch
long.
it because I watched it was a new World War II movie with about like a battleship. I can't remember what
Midway?
it's called. No. I'll have to look it up. but the CGI in this was so bad.
Was it called Battleship?
No, I don't. Okay, I was a big fan of Battleship when they fight the aliens.
Movie?
When they fight the aliens?
Yeah.
I like that movie.
I fucking hated that movie.
I thought it was a good
movie's
movie.
not good, dude. I wanted to like that movie, and I can't remember who the lead guy was, but it had like Rihanna in it and stuff, and it was just not a good movie.
It was the guy from the Friday Night Lights, the series.
Oh, yeah.
The running back or whatever.
Yeah.
He was the lead guy.
Which I like him, but I just can't get on board with that movie. It comes on TNT all the time. It'll be on TV, and I'll be scrolling through, and I'm like, oh, maybe I'll watch Battleship, and I'll watch it for 5 minutes. I'm like, I don't know why I clicked on this. It's not very good.
Yeah, I'm trying to find...
We got really sidetracked. We were from our little pick two, the rest are coming to kill you game.
I think we answered everything. Now I'm trying to figure out what this damn movie was.
World War II movie with a battleship?
Yeah, and it was... The CGI was so bad that, like... It was hard to finish.
Yeah, and that's what happens.
And I'm not one to back out on World War II shit. I am a history nerd when it comes to World War II.
Especially World War II stuff, yeah.
I will watch Band of Brothers in the Pacific every week, fully through, all 10 episodes.
Which, by the way, I have officially begun Band of Brothers, and I think I only have 4 episodes left.
And it's fucking phenomenal.
It's amazing. I know I'm an asshole because you told me to watch it
like
for the past...
7 years ago.
Like 7 years.
Probably 19 years, because I'm pretty sure it was released in like 2001.
It show's old, yeah. It's been out for a long time.
And it's phenomenal.
You've been telling me to watch it, and I have always known I was going to love the show if I started it. And I just have been putting it off. I finally started it. I think 6 episodes in, and it's 10 episodes long. Mm-hmm. It's tremendous. So, great recommendation. I'm finally coming around to your recommendation.
Man. That show is just...
So, you know which if you want to dive into some Band of Brothers stuff, you know which episode I just watched?
So if you're on, you have 4 left, so you just finished 6.
Yeah.
Which is, they should just be getting ready to head to the Battle of the Bulge, right?
So I just saw that one.
Okay.
So it was at Bastogne, right?
Okay, yeah.
Where they were in the forest, they were free. Everyone's freezing, and they're low on ammo, they're low on supplies, low on food, all that kind of stuff. And then that one episode is all centered around the medic, the army medic, and he keeps taking wounded back into town, and then he ends up forming like that kind of bond and relationship with that female nurse in the little
hospital, in the
ramshackle hospital they've set up and all that kind of stuff. Tremendous show, dude. It's great. I love it.
Phenomenal.
It's like, and I always knew I was going to be interested in it because I loved Saving Private Ryan. Saving Private Ryan is one of my favorite movies ever. It's a masterful movie.
Yeah.
And seeing Band of Brothers and seeing that Steven Spielberg and Tom Hanks were involved with producing that show, I was like, I have to watch this. And essentially what it is Saving Private Ryan told over the course of 10 hours instead of 2.5 hours.
Right. And
it's amazing.
It's one of those things that it's... The thing that brings it so much deeper for me is the fact that they literally have those guys that survived everything. You have Major Winters, you have Sergeant Malarkey, you have all of those guys that survived the war. Babe Heffron, even Bill Garnier. They have all those guys in real life interviews.
That's what I wanted to talk to you about that because when they start each episode, it starts with these interviews with these old guys, and they're, right off the bat, you're like, okay, these must be veterans talking about their experiences during the war, and then you start realizing, oh shit, I'm hearing from the actual guys who I'm watching being portrayed in this show, and so I think I saw that it was based on a book, I guess, and I don't know who wrote it, but all of these guys
Lipton. It's Carwood Lipton,
and which
one's
sergeant?
Lipton? So he's Donnie Wahlberg.
Okay. So he's the guy who wrote it,
right? Because he narrates if you really kind of pay attention to it, he kind of narrates the whole thing.
Oh yeah,
it's kind of like a. I mean, they follow Captain Winter, or I guess Lieutenant Winters to Captain Winter. They kind of follow him because he's kind of a main character.
Guy a lot.
But Lipton is when they're in the church and Captain Spears is like, oh, they've always had a commanding officer. And he goes, what? Kind of playing it off. And he goes, you first, Sergeant. And I'm like, dude, this is all literally about him and how he kept that whole entire Easy Company together.
Yeah.
And it kind of just I don't know. I've watched it so many times that
You clearly know a lot about it.
I could hear it playing in the background right now, and I could be like, "Oh, this is where they're at.
Yeah.
This is what's happening."
I'm super excited that I'm watching it because I want to, when I finish it, I want to talk to you about the whole thing too, and we can talk about like some of the stuff I've seen already. But I really, really like what they built into the show so much, and what makes it so captivating is not just the battle sequences, which are just stunning.
Yeah, I mean, it's phenomenal.
It's amazing, and especially for a show like that was made 20 years ago.
Right.
But just how they built the story around the bonds that are formed between these guys in battle, and that I love sort of and it's something that you and I have experienced on a very, very minuscule level, being on like a football team, being a part of something like that, where it's a bunch of guys going through, facing some adversity, and having to come through, band together and fight through some adversity and come out the other side and accomplish their goal. Except for, obviously, with the highest stakes possible when you're dealing with war
you either
and
live
World
or you
War
die.
II. Yeah. So what's so fascinating is watching Easy Company and watching the guys who naturally emerge as leaders, like this Winters guy, who is just... There's some people that when they're thrown into that chaotic situation, they're able to just rise to the occasion. They're level-headed. They're like, here's our goal. We have to accomplish it. They're able to, which is something that's totally intangible, to look at guys in the face and like some guy who's losing his shit, like snap at him and be like, hey, look at me in the eyes. Here's what we need to do. And like rally the troops.
Right. And
I love watching that
into
stuff.
a battle.
Because you have all the different personalities on a platoon like that or whatever. Same thing like you do on a football team. You have the quiet guys who will show up, get their job done. You have the guys that are loudmouths, but then when it comes down to it, the bullets start flying, they cower.
Right.
And then you have the guys who are like that Captain Winters guy, who is just like not only a fantastic leader, but just a phenomenal soldier.
Right.
And a tactician.
Literally
and like,
perfect
clearly,
for what he had to do.
Yeah, clearly that guy is just tremendous at accomplishing his task. He's just... And I love how they've built into this whole thing the camaraderie of all of the soldiers and the shit they have to go through. And, it's funny, like, when they're making their way to Europe to get into this battle after they've left the United States when they were doing all their training and all that kind of stuff, the guys will get into these arguments and these little mini skirmishes and fights over, the Italian guy talking shit to the Irish guy or the Jewish guy or whatever. Right. But then when they get over there and they get dropped into battle and then it becomes us versus the Germans, all of them are, immediately have each other's backs. We're all on the same side. Hey, we got to get through this and stop this evil from spreading, Yeah, I love it, dude. It's great.
I mean, when you're done, we'll have to talk about it. Because
we can do a whole Band of Brothers episode.
I could literally talk for hours on this. And then I could dive into the Pacific, which... You'll have to watch. It's not going to be as captivating.
I was going to say, do you recommend that one?
So I recommend it because I love World War II.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's fun. Okay, I don't want to say fun because war isn't fun.
Right.
War's... So coming from like a theatrical standpoint, I think it's a great show. I think what happens in it, it's... We hear about what happens over in Europe. We learned about that. We didn't necessarily, we heard about Pearl Harbor, but we didn't really hear about Guadalcanal. You didn't hear about the Solomon Islands and, Okinawa. I mean, yeah, we heard about some stuff that happened there. We heard about some stuff that happened, on those little desolate islands. So it's nice to kind of get, it doesn't follow the same group. It kind of jumps around between different groups. Yeah. But it gives you that perspective of what happened on one side of the world with Band of Brothers in the European theater of war, and then the Pacific, which was in the Pacific theater of war.
You have these two different fronts, basically.
Right, and to watch them in the same time frame, wars fought completely different on one end than on the other end.
Oh, for sure.
And, in that second episode, like you said, when they're traveling across the Atlantic to go to Europe, there's like, some dude's down, banging broads on an island.
Yeah.
And then you watch Pacific and you go, holy shit, I think I would have rather been in the cold in Bastogne.
Yeah.
But then you have the guys in Bastogne going, I think I'd rather be in the 6 inches of water constantly in, the Pacific. So it becomes one of those, you get perspectives of, the war in the Pacific was its own animal.
Yeah.
And the war in Europe was its own animal. So I recommend it. I think it's a great, same shit. Steven Spielberg and Tom Hanks, I believe, both.
Okay, so they're involved in the other one too. Okay.
And I think it's great. I don't think it's as good as Band of Brothers just because I like following the same group through all of it.
Yeah.
But I think it's great because it shows you the other side of the world.
I'm gonna check that one out when I'm done with Band of Brothers because I'm loving Band of Brothers so far.
Yeah.
It's tremendous.
I mean, it's phenomenal. I would recommend it to anybody that likes World War II, and I always recommend it. But like I said, some people I recommend, to have them watch it first because Band of Brothers is just so captivating, and like the story behind it is so strong that you go to the Pacific and you're like, well, it's good. I get the point. But I don't get the same feeling that I do when I followed Easy Company.
Right. So, okay, I'm looking up here on IMDb real quick just to see what these two have as ratings. Because Band of Brothers, I'm not sure how familiar you are with the IMDb ratings and all that kind of stuff, or how often you spend time on here.
Nah, I rate my own movies.
It has a 9.4 out of 10 for the entire series, for a 10-episode series. That's really good. And then let's see what the Pacific has.
When I see Rotten Tomatoes, which is clearly the best, is 94%.
So the Pacific has an 8.3 out of 10 compared to the, what did I say? 9.4. So I think a lot of people, it seems like most people agree with you. There's a consensus that Band of Brothers is better than the Pacific. But I think I'm still going to check out the Pacific as well. Dude, you know what's one of the craziest things that I've noticed about Band of Brothers is the cast. Like the extensive cast that's in this show of guys who were at the very beginning of their Hollywood careers. Dude, in the, I think it might be the Bastogne episode or the one right before that. It's when they're first showing up there and they're realizing that they have like zero supplies basically. The guy who comes rolling up on one of those little Jeeps with like he's
Jimmy
hauling
Fallon.
supply. It's Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah.
He first pulls up and I'm like, is that Jimmy Fallon? And then sure enough, they give him a little bit more screen time. Like he's only on screen for 5 minutes or something.
Yep.
And I'm like, that's Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah.
And when did this show came out? When was this?
I think Band of Brothers
2001.
Yep, 2001.
So that's Jimmy Fallon from 19 years ago. It was just really trippy to see. And they have...
Well, and Lieutenant Winters is the guy from, isn't it House?
Well, he actually... So that's Damian Lewis, and he went to star in the show on, I think it's Showtime, called Billions. He's like the main star of Billions. And he's also in some other stuff, too.
I thought he did one on... on TV too. I thought
We'll double check it right now. I'll let you know what you're thinking of. Oh, Homeland. He's in Homeland. I swear.
I knew it was like
he's been the star or like one of the stars in two gigantic shows because I think Billions and Homeland are super popular. But dude, in Band of Brothers, James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender are both in that show, and then.
James McAvoy has
James
in and out.
Dude, in and out. But James McAvoy later goes on to play, obviously, Professor Xavier in the X-Men movies, and he's a gigantic movie star, tremendous actor.
Wanted.
And Fassbender played Magneto in the X-Men movies, and also a tremendous actor. They have these tiny, tiny roles in Band of Brothers. Like the main series is not on the shoulders of these guys who are later, if you fast forward 15 years later, are gigantic movie stars.
Right. Well, I mean, you have like Scott Grimes who played Malarkey. He was in ER as a nurse. Yeah. I think he was a nurse in that show or a doctor. My mom used to watch that all the time. But then, like you said, there's so many people that just play small roles that then all of a sudden are just...
Yeah.
I mean, their careers either took off, or even if their career had taken off before this, I mean... If I was an actor, if I had an opportunity to be in a film like this or a show like this, even if I was the Jimmy Fallon role where I show up
for 5 minutes,
from my perspective, I could be a part of a historical moment in film because, in my opinion, I love war movies because I think it shows the true patriots of this country, and I love when they highlight that. And so for me to play someone that had an important role not only on American history but on world history.
And especially...
I couldn't pass it up.
Yeah, a real person, which is like all this stuff. These are real guys. It's not like this is a fictional story in to play Han Solo. Right, yeah. Or it's not like some fictional company of men just placed within the context of a real event.
Right, it's not like a Battleship movie where you have a realistic idea of, this these war games that go on, but then you have aliens that come in, and you have one battleship left to save the world.
Here, you want me to tell you what the Battleship movie has? It's not great.
I mean, I think movies are hard.
Yeah, Brooklyn Decker. Oh, 5.8 out of 10.
Hey,
so not great.
It's not. It's over 50%. Right?
It's over 50%. It's not terrible, but in my opinion, that movie's pretty garbage. And it's kind of funny. So what I was just gonna say is Brooklyn Decker's in that movie too, on top of Rihanna. A couple of weird
and Liam
castings.
Neeson.
Oh yeah,
he's the admiral
in that too. He's the admiral. So like you got some pretty good actors in there because him and Taylor Kurtz are like pretty decent actors, but that movie's just not good. Ironically enough, too, it's directed by Peter Berg, who has done a bunch of fantastic movies. He did Deepwater Horizon,
dude,
which
Deepwater
is
Horizon,
amazing, amazing,
phenomenal. And people bag that movie though because they're like, "Oh, there's no storyline." I'm like, "You're stupid." Like I gotta call you stupid.
Yeah, that doesn't make.
I know it's not nice, but this is literally based on a true story.
Let me just rattle off a few that he's done that are fucking amazing. So. Patriots Day, which have you seen that about the Boston Marathon bombing?
I haven't seen that yet with Mark Wahlberg.
Great movie.
I haven't seen it yet.
Deepwater Horizon, which I think he's made quite a few movies with Mark Wahlberg. I think out of all the movies he's made with Mark Wahlberg, Deepwater Horizon's the best one. It's amazing. And dude, it's so funny. Every time it's on TV, Taya and I will watch it like it's the first time we've ever seen that movie.
Well, dude, I remember when we went and saw that movie.
Yeah,
and,
we saw it.
We walked out and we were both like,
and I was not expecting that movie to be that good. Remember, I said that to you when we left. I was like, this movie is amazing. I was not expecting that movie to be that good.
I mean, the thing that we all knew the story going into the movie, so that's where I was kind of like, I don't want to be disappointed. I know what happens. Don't bullshit us. And they literally had everything, and I'm like, well, this movie was great.
It's great.
Everything that happened in this movie was great.
So he did. It's kind of funny. So he did those two. He directed a few episodes of Ballers, the TV show on HBO, and some of The Leftovers, which is a really good show. And he also did that Battleship movie, which I think is not very good. He directed some episodes of Friday Night Lights, the TV show. He also did Hancock, directed that movie, and Friday Night Lights, the movie. So out of the movies he's directed, and he did The Rundown with The Rock and what's his name, Sean William Scott or whatever. That movie's great. Friday Night Lights is my favorite sports movie of all time. Hancock's a good movie, and then you got Patriots Day and Deepwater Horizon are both really good. But then he has this one, for me, Battleship's kind of a weird stain on that whole resume. I'm like, out of all these fantastic movies that I love watching, I'm like, that movie's just not very good.
I feel like it had a lot of potential.
It did, for sure.
And it had the cast for a lot of potential. It's one of those movies that, I'm not going to preach by it by any means, but I kind of find it a little entertaining I think that that really captivated me with that is the veterans that come on in the Missouri that they pull out of retirement, and I think that's what really got me into that movie was just it's like those are the old school fuck yeah America, and you know me, I'm such a fuck yeah America person that was just like
you're talking about at the end when they come in and it's all the World War II vets that they have to help
on
them
the battleship
operate
Missouri
that battleship that's just been like a prop basically,
and then they save the world and I'm like flexing in my chair, I'm like I wasted the hour and a half before this. But this part just got me out of my chair.
And it's shot well, and it's got cool effects and stuff, and it's got good action. It's just kind of, I don't know, it's just kind of cheesy. It's just, I don't think it's a very good movie.
It is a cheesy movie, but
those movies also serve their purpose. There's plenty of movies that are not very good movies that I will watch over and over and over because they're entertaining.
I mean, I watch movies over and over and over, but I'm not going to get into that because Harry Potter's a whole nother discussion, if you know what I'm talking about.
Do you realize how far we have strayed from our initial topic of conversation for this?
Yeah, okay, so let's go back to our
because you said you pulled up a couple of the other ones that were... we had the action movie stars.
So the action movies.
And then there were some other ones.
Here's an...
Do you want... Sorry, before we veer off to other stuff that's not action movie stars, do you want to hear what I came up with?
Yeah, let's hear...
It's just spin-offs of the game. So... I don't know if this changes your selections at all for your two guys, but I took out AJ Soprano and Upham from Saving Private Ryan, and I replaced them with Ethan Hunt from the Mission Impossible franchise and James Bond. Because we're doing an action movie star list of characters for the pick 2 to defend you and pick the rest are going to come kill you. Those two have to be in the conversation. Those are two. Mission Impossible and James Bond are two of the biggest like spy movie, action movie franchises in the history of Hollywood. By the way, I just watched the Mission Impossible franchise is fresh in my head because I just rewatched the newest one, Fallout, which I don't know if you've seen. I haven't seen it. Excellent. They just keep getting better.
See, so I'm not the biggest fan of Mission Impossible.
Okay.
So
have you seen all of them? Or
I don't think I've seen all of them. No.
Okay.
So
I would highly recommend going back and watching. The first two are all right, but they just they start the franchise and stuff. But in my opinion, 3 is really good, and then 4, 5, and 6 keep getting better, dude. Right. They're so good. You should really check them out. They're great. So
adding in James Bond there.
Yeah.
The dude is, multiple dudes. We got to be honest. Right. We got to play it the way it's truly played.
Yeah.
He's just the baddest agent in the UK.
Yeah. So it's the character of 007.
The character of 007.
Not necessarily Daniel Craig.
He's insane. Do we have all the tools? Because he gets aided a lot.
Oh, for sure. Movies. Talk about having help and a whole network of people giving you stuff.
Right. So if he doesn't have, what is it, MI6?
Yeah.
So if he doesn't have MI6, if it's just James Bond, he's got great skills. Dude's going to be, athletic as fuck. He can shoot straight.
Great in hand-to-hand combat.
Great hand-to-hand. But without all these tools, does he really serve that much of a purpose for me in protecting me? Yeah, he might be great at trying to find me because, he's a special agent. He's good at tracking down bad guys. But if he doesn't have all these tools and shit to go with him, you can't drive your car off a bridge and into the ocean, and all of a sudden you pop up in Spain out of your submarine that was your car. It limits him, in my opinion.
It's a fair criticism. I don't think having James Bond and Ethan Hunt in the conversation changes my selections. I still think I'm going with John Wick and Jason Bourne. But if you were going to rank these guys, James Bond and Ethan Hunt have to be at the top 5 or 6 of this ranking, dude.
Oh, easy.
And talk about relentlessness. Ethan Hunt. See, this is why you need to go watch some of the newest Mission Impossible movies, too. The relentlessness of Ethan Hunt. The guy can do anything. And he literally works for, it's kind of cheesy, but he works for the IMF, which stands for the Impossible Missions Force. So it's literally like the most impossible missions that no other government agency can accomplish. They get Ethan Hunt and his team from the IMF to go do. Okay. So dude can get in and out of anywhere. He's excellent hand-to-hand combat. He's got incredible, in terms of just grand skills of just being able to hop onto a helicopter and kill the pilot and then fly the helicopter to go do whatever he needs to do, or operate the boat, or skydive out of some plane from 30,000 feet in the air. Whatever he needs to do, he's going to get it done. I think it should not be understated how much of a badass Ethan Hunt is. So it'd be a serious problem if that guy was after you, too.
But you got to, I feel like we focus so much on individual characters sometimes, and we might have done this, I might have already forgot what we all said. But if we focus too much on the individual character, we might forget that, there's 12 dudes. So we have 10 dudes coming after us, or females. We have 10 people coming after us with 2 to protect us. So if the 2 we pick to protect us aren't good at protecting something.
Yeah.
No matter how good the other 10 are coming at you, those 10 guys or girls or whoever they are going to just slaughter you.
Yeah. I think that's a good point to raise, because you need to look at the skills that individual character has, which is kind of why, going back to why I would pick Jason Bourne to be in my mix, is I'm like, that guy can take me and just disappear somewhere in the world, and it's going to be really hard to track us down, because that's what he's really good at. So in terms of protecting an asset, that's a very valuable skill, versus someone maybe John Wick is more of an offensive weapon. You know what I mean? Less of a defensive guy and more of an offensive weapon.
And it comes down to sometimes the best defense is a good offense.
Yeah.
But that's where I go the opposite way, with, I guess it's not the opposite way. John Rambo for me is the same as Bourne. The dude just lures people in, though, and he doesn't run. He's not like, I'm going to run. He's like, I'm going to run, but you're going to know where I am.
I think that's...
But can you find me?
That's low-key Rambo's greatest asset, is his defensive abilities of like being able to just disappear into the woods somewhere and set up booby traps and lure enemies in.
And then just he's like a shadow though. You
Yeah.
see him and you start shooting and all of a sudden he's on this like
Right.
I mean the way he just it's just one of those things you're like I'm in the forest like
Yeah.
oh there's a tree there I see him and then all of a sudden he's behind you because there's a tunnel underneath you that you
Yeah.
dug and jumped up out of, or you walked into a string and you got wooden spikes come
Yeah.
like flying through your back.
Yeah.
And then you're
So,
screaming.
I think it's safe to say, including James Bond and Ethan Hunt in the conversation, does not change either of our two picks, right?
No.
Yeah, and I just wanted to throw them in there because I felt like
Now,
if there were two movie characters that deserved to be in the conversation, it's those two.
Now, replacing Upham and Soprano with those two guys, it brings the offense that's coming at you to a point where you're like,
yeah.
listen, if I don't have my own skills, like these two guys are fucked.
Yeah.
Like, you know, John Wick by himself against him, okay, John Wick could probably handle half of them. Let's be honest. John Wick might not get as lucky as we think against those guys. So then it's like me and another dude against 5 other people. And those guys probably got a lot more
got a lot of firepower
and shit
and,
against me than, you know. So Rambo and I are off into the woods or at a house that he booby-trapped the shit out of, and it's like, okay, you better get like 3 at least.
Yeah.
Let's even this up.
Because now you got Hobbs, Jason Bourne, Brian Mills, all of them are coming into the woods after you.
Coming after you. So it's like, we better get 2. And I mean, when I say get 2, not injure, like they better be dead so that it's a 2v2 and we just got to get each other's trades.
Yeah.
And
here's an interesting
know.
question for you. You've picked your 2 guys. So you had, who was it? It was Rambo and
I had
John
Rambo
Wick.
and John Wick.
Okay. Say they've killed everyone but like a couple guys. What sort of odds do you give yourself going up against anyone on this list?
I like to think that I'm a straight shooter, but I've never been in action or like, you know, combat. So, I mean, if I see them and I got a straight line of fire and I can shoot first, I feel good because in the movies, everybody misses them.
Yeah.
I might be shaken, so I might miss my first couple shots. I give myself a good chance, but as soon as...
That's if you have a gun. Say you don't have a gun.
Say if I don't have a gun, you're going to find me, you know, jumping off a building or something, being like, shoot me out of the air. Like,
I think if it's hand-to-hand combat versus any of these guys, it's over. You're fucked.
no, the only way you win hand-to-hand combat is if you get the lucky strike and you, like, knock them out, and then you could choke them.
If I was able to, like, pick up a heavy-ass cast iron skillet and fucking hit him in the head or something and knock him out.
But you got to hit him the first time,
Right.
and you got to hit him right.
Yeah, you got to be incredibly lucky.
You know, you follow through with the cast iron skillet. If you miss, not only are you becoming vulnerable, but you're like...
And any of these guys will probably take that and then use it against you, too, and then just beat you to death with your own skill.
And then, you know, you're up in heaven or you're down in hell and you're looking at earth and you're going, holy shit, I just got my beat in by
with my own skillet.
Yeah, I didn't even get a cooking egg in that this morning. I
Here's
just got beat by it.
Here's an idea for you. So I was telling you, Taya and I were talking about an all-female list of action movie stars. And what I tried to do when I was building this list is limit it to people who are just humans. So you can't have Wonder Woman in it or like Gamora from Guardians of the Galaxy. She's an alien. That's a badass action star, but she's not just a regular human. Yeah, because this whole list is just basically regular guys.
Right.
So
regular guys that
with a particular set of skills. Yeah. So, okay, the female list, as just something quick that I came up with, I obviously kept the Bride from Barstool's original lists from Kill Bill, Katniss Everdeen from The Hunger Games, Black Widow from the Marvel movies, Sarah Connor from the Terminator series, one of the like original OG badass female action stars, Charlize Theron's character from the new Mad Max movie, Mad Max Fury Road. Do you remember her?
Dude, yeah.
Great. Fucking savage. Ellen Ripley from the Alien movies, also one of the OG action movie stars, females.
Ridiculous.
Savage. Laura Croft, Tomb Raider. Remember her?
Fucking... They're coming out with a new movie, aren't they? Isn't there a new one coming out this year?
There was one they made
supposed to come out
just a couple years ago with a new chick, and I think they're making a sequel to that one. I haven't seen it. But
I haven't seen the new one
I've
either.
seen the... who is it? Angelina Jolie.
Yeah,
Laura
the
Croft
original.
movies. I've seen those first two, but... And then the last one I had on the list was just Michelle Rodriguez's character from the Fast and Furious franchise. I forget what her name is. It's not important. Anyway.
For this segment, we can forget about it.
Do you want to look at the list while you're trying to decide?
So, in terms of protecting me, Katniss Everdeen, 100%.
Okay.
That bitch has survival skills that I've never seen before.
It's a good point because she survived the Hunger Games, like 2 times, and then
led a rebellion,
an uprising, against this oppressive government,
So I mean,
it's a good pick.
I'm gonna be like, hey, let's go disappear into the mountains, and then everyone's fucked. We'll just go perch on top of a mountain, unless we got like airstrikes coming in. We're fine.
Yeah. But it's just it's these other people coming after you. It's
these
other chicks. So you got Katniss
Everdeen, and I mean, dude, if you don't pick the Black Widow, like
that's God, it's hard to pass her up.
She's literally a born killer. Like she was literally to be a born killer, like
raised by the Russians to be a secret agent, spy, killing machine.
Yeah, not even like I'm gonna spy on you, but like, oh yeah, you did something bad, like you're dead.
Yeah,
and without hesitation.
So I think looking at this list, I'm gonna just start eliminating characters that I don't think I would want at all. Michelle Rodriguez from Fast and Furious. I don't.
I mean, she's a badass. Don't get me wrong.
She's a badass, but your services are not required for this mission.
I don't need a driver.
Yeah, Lara Croft, like cool archaeologist. She's basically the female Indiana Jones. I don't. Your services are not required. Sorry. Ellen Ripley from Alien. While she's a savage, unless you have one of those big mech suits, like from the spaceship or whatever, you're not helping me. So Furiosa from Mad Max, I really got to think about.
It's a badass character.
And okay, so I the list up from here, it's a hard decision. So you go Furiosa from Mad Max, Sarah Connor from Terminator. Dude, what a badass.
Yeah.
Black Widow, Katniss Everdeen, and The Bride.
I feel like the easiest one to kick out of there would be The Bride.
You think so?
I think so.
Dude, the Kill Bill movies, she kills so many people.
I know, but how many of those people were like...
Dude, what about that one? I think it's the end of the first one where she kills the crazy 88, right? Like that group of ninja warriors, and there's 88 of them. She kills all of them in that room by herself with a fucking sword.
She's in a room. So she's got them all coming.
Okay. Do you want her coming after you? Do you want to be Bill in this situation?
Because Katniss got me protected. I'm a tree branch.
All I'm saying is I don't want to be Bill in the Kill Bill scenario.
Well, yeah, I don't think anybody wants to be Bill in a movie.
She shows up,
Kill
she gives
Bill.
you the 5-point exploding heart technique, and it's fucking over.
Yeah,
I don't know if I want her coming after me. So, like, having her protect me, I'd feel pretty good.
But I would feel good with Katniss. And I mean, imagine Black Widow coming after you then.
Yeah, serious problem. Serious problem.
So, I mean, you got to... I feel like then if you're going to say that, you got to take Black Widow or The Bride.
I think I'm eliminating...
have to have one of them.
I think I'm eliminating Furiosa from Mad Max as well. So that's down to... I'm down to 4. I'm down to The Bride, Katniss Everdeen, Black Widow, and Sarah Connor. And I think my 2 picks are going to be Black Widow and The Bride. I think those are the 2 I want protecting.
I mean, this list is a lot easier in my opinion because the people you forget don't necessarily have the skills that are going to be like, I'm going to come fuck shit up.
Yeah.
Like, Black Widow and The Bride they're straight killers. Like, those are pretty much the only 2 straight killers out there. The other ones are like, hey, we could form a good team and come fuck shit up. But we got to go against, SEAL Team 6 in The Bride and Black Widow.
You think about, I think Black Widow has to be your number 1 draft pick in this list because, dude, she went toe-to-toe with, like, some of the scariest, most intimidating villains in the Marvel franchise, and she's just a person.
And she sacrificed herself.
Yeah, she's not like Thor or Iron Man or Captain America where they're somehow superhumanly enhanced or have some cool suit. She's just a person.
She's just...
who knows how to shoot guns and, like, kick the shit out of people, basically.
She's just a killer.
And she went toe-to-toe. I mean, granted, she got her ass kicked by the Winter Soldier, but she went toe-to-toe with the Winter Soldier, who's, like, one of the scariest assassins in the history of that franchise.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely feel like, I would have to go between The Bride, Katniss Everdeen, and Black Widow. Katniss Everdeen could just...
I think we're in agreement there.
She's just so... I think she's so influential that I feel like even if we wanted to go off script a little bit, she could recruit more people that aren't on that list to just come fuck my day up.
And she's a natural leader too. She like we discussed, she leads that entire rebellion towards the end of that series against that oppressive government, it's basically taken over everything in this dystopian future. So she could, like, I don't exactly want her rallying the rest of those troops to come kill me.
Right.
She's going to give this...
She's going to come and, fuck your day up.
Yeah.
Because she's like, hey...
This rallying, uplifting, rousing speech to the rest of the people who are coming to kill you. And meanwhile, you're sitting there with The Bride like, I hope you're ready.
Yeah, we're fucked.
I hope you're ready.
Black Widow's sitting there going, well, great. Way to fucking go. We could have just had 5, but no, we got the whole world.
So anyway, that was my little list. I was playing off of the Barstool Sports idea and just doing an all-female list. So what were the other ones that you found?
So I think this is another Barstool one. I'm not 100%, but I think it is. But it's pick 2, you know, they will defend you. The rest are coming to kill you.
Okay. Lay it on me.
So you got, it looks like it's 50 golden eagles.
Oh, so it's all animals?
So it's animals. 10 alligators or crocodiles. 3 grizzly bears. 7, they put buffalo, but are like, I don't know. I would say water buffalo, because water buffalo are a whole different beast than like a cow or like cattle. So let's go with water buffalo.
Okay.
Like a hunter, so it could just be yourself with a gun. 15 wolves.
I'm going to try and look this up, too, to look at it while you're reading it.
You could just type in Barstool Sports Pick 2 people.
Okay.
And it was one that showed up. 4 lions, and you can go, I think you can go either male or female. I don't think it necessarily matters. 5 silverback gorillas.
Okay.
Or 10,000 rats.
Okay, I found the one that you're talking about on Google Images.
Yeah.
Okay, so
you got to pick 2, and the rest are coming to kill you.
is yours the one, I'm sorry, it has like one guy with a gun?
Yeah, right in the middle.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Yeah. So that's like the hunter.
Right. So what's yours?
So originally I said, well, of course I'm going to be a hunter with a gun. But I started to think about this, and I'm like, well, how much ammo do I have? Or what kind of gun do I have?
Yeah.
Because at some point, that gun becomes rendered useless. You got 3 grizzly bears chasing you. There was a story of a grizzly bear in Alaska that died after it was shot, and they had found, I think it was like 9 or 10 rounds in it from different guns.
Oh, my
So it
God.
had been shot and had survived all.
Dude, those things are terrifying.
So it becomes, my question for the hunter becomes, what kind of gun do I have, and how much ammo do I have? Because
unless that guy's sitting there with some sort of a 50 cal machine gun with like unlimited ammo. If he just has like one rifle with like 10 rounds,
you become useless,
I don't feel
in
that
my
great
opinion,
about
because if you have 50 eagles coming at you, it takes 1 to grab the gun, and then you're like, well, I'm one dude. I got 5 silverback gorillas behind me to fight. So I was like, well, I'll do, the one thing with 5 silverback gorillas. And then I'm like, nah. The thing with silverback gorillas is, they're strong as shit. But I feel like they could get taken apart easy.
Okay.
I feel like, so I honestly would go with the eagles for one of my picks.
To defend you.
To defend me.
Okay.
Because
50 eagles.
If that's a true golden eagle, they will literally take mountain goats off of top of mountains.
I didn't know
they
that.
will
That's
literally
fucking
eat
terrifying.
full deer. You would just watch the video and then just claws into a full deer and fly away.
And plus, they can just fly by and be pecking out the eyes of your gorillas.
Yeah, and their talons are like longer than my fingers.
Yeah, which is
And it can
that'd
just
be
pierce
terrifying.
skin.
That'd be like a wall of eagles flying at you, all trying to kill you.
I was like, all right, eagles, 100%. 10 alligators or crocodiles, no, I'm sorry. They can run fast, but they can't turn. So if you step out of the way quick, all right, you got the next one coming at you.
And if it's not necessarily like a swamp or a lake setting,
you kind of
I don't know how
render
helpful
them
they're going to
useless.
be. Yeah.
Like an eagle can go anywhere.
Right.
You could be on an island and they're like, well, hey, we're here.
Yeah.
No one can come here. The grizzly bears, all right, 3 of them.
Dude, grizzly bears are terrifying.
They're the biggest animal on this list. They're huge.
They're terrifying. They're monsters.
Like the water buffalo, we're going to say they're water buffalo. Nah, I'm not going to have them. They'd be great at protecting me, but, because that's what they do. But at the same time, I'm not. If I got 7 water buffalo and 50 eagles, I got bears, wolves, lions, gorillas, rats, alligators, and a hunter coming after me. The buffalo are going to be these things to shoot.
Yeah.
So I literally sat here and nitpicked this whole list to get.
I haven't studied this one as long as I have the other one, but this one's kind of hard actually when you start thinking about it.
So I got my list down. I mean, 10,000 rats. You're going to get a lot of things that just like fuck that. Like I ain't going.
I love how they put 10,000 rats like that.
I mean, if they're rabid rats, sure, let them protect me.
Doesn't sound super intimidating, but like you start thinking about the strength in numbers, and that becomes a serious problem after a little
so
bit.
that's where the Eagles with 50 going against 10,000.
Yeah.
Okay,
so you had 50 Eagles and
so I'll do 50 Eagles, and then I was really debating between the Bears and the Wolves, but Wolves work so well together that
15 wolves.
They could just come in and
surround me and
clean shit up. So I feel like it's a mismatch either way, though. Like, no matter what you pick, you're mismatched.
That's why it's a good game. That's a good.
So,
and the way they picked the numbers too is really good.
I would go Eagles and Wolves, but my secondary choice would be Eagles and Bears.
I think that's a pretty solid choice. I think I agree with you. The alligators, I think I'm going to eliminate them. I'm eliminating rats. I'm eliminating the water buffalo. Like, this is the way I have to do this. I have to just go through and eliminate the ones I don't want. So then I'm down to basically the human who's armed with a gun. I guess we don't really know much of the specifics of that scenario.
Right, so if he's on like a mounted 50 cal with unlimited ammo, I'm probably going to go with the human then because I can get rid of the alligators, the bears, the wolves, the lions, the gorillas, and the buffalo
I guess
pretty quick.
You'd have to assume in this scenario this guy is an actual hunter too. So it's not just like a person with a gun like who doesn't
not your average Joe that's just walking down the street.
It's like an actual hunter. So that's a really good asset to have, or it would be terrifying to be chased by an actual hunter. Okay, so you got gorillas, lions, the hunter, the human hunter, the wolves, the bears, and the eagles. I think out of that, to protect me, I think it's tough. I would almost rather have the human after me than protecting me because, like you said, let's say you just have the 50 eagles and the one guy, the hunter, protecting you. He's going to have a serious fucking issue trying to take out 3 bears, 15 wolves, 4 lions, 5 gorillas, 10,000 rats, and 7 buffalo, and 10 crocodiles.
Yeah.
With a gun, one gun.
Right.
So
no matter what gun it is, it becomes very difficult.
That's a serious issue.
Because what happens if you push 10,000 rats in first? I mean, you're like shooting at the ground, and then you
probably missing half the time.
Yeah, and then they could just crawl over you and render you useless.
Yeah. So I think I'm not going to pick the human either. So to protect me, I think I'm going 15 wolves. Just because I love how terrifying wolves are and how well they work together, dude. That'd be such a great asset. And then I want to go either between the lions or the gorillas. But maybe you're right. Having the 50 eagles, I feel like that seems like a odd pick. But then when you start thinking about how helpful that would be, I mean, and you don't want to have, if I already have wolves, I don't want to have another thing that's almost like a wolf, which is 4 more lions. Like, they're basically just...
They're big wolves.
They're just 4-legged, carnivores. But, like, I already have a bunch of those.
I mean, when you look at the list...
I need multiple areas of combat, multiple facets of my game here.
Well, and my biggest thing with this list, though, is the eagles are the only aerial thing here.
Yeah.
So, if they're not, besides the hunter, none of these other animals can fight them.
Yeah,
in a realistic, safe...
And they can just be swooping down, causing damage, flying back
alligator's not going to post up on a, tree trying to grab it. An alligator can't get up a tree. Yeah. So the eagles just give you air superior. I mean... It's
like air support. You have built-in air support in a battle of animals.
And when you watch, war movies, air support's the one thing that literally can solidify a victory.
Yeah. So I think I'm going wolves and eagles. That's my final pick. And you were Eagles and what?
I was Eagles and Wolves too.
Oh, you were?
But my secondary would have been the Bears, just because.
That's a good one. I like that one. I hadn't really seen that one and had a chance to really break it down as much as I had the action movie star one. But these are great. These games.
I saw that one, and then there was a bracket, but so it's best sit down chain restaurant, but it's like a full bracket. Oh. I mean, like a March Madness size bracket, 64 teams.
Okay. So I like it when they're somewhat manageable.
Yeah, so they're down to their Elite 8, so we could go through their Elite 8.
Yeah, lay it on me. I want to do that one.
So
that sounds fun.
All right, so their Elite 8. Okay, computer, gotta love technology. Their Elite 8 is Chili's versus Red Lobster.
Okay.
Pluckers versus Outback. Never heard of Pluckers. Capitol Grill versus Olive Garden. And Texas Roadhouse versus Waffle House. And these are all voted on by the people.
How'd you get to their Elite 8? Because I pulled up one and I just had their full bracket.
I don't know. It's just an image I selected on Google.
Oh, okay. Let me see yours then, because I need to look at it as we're going through it.
So yeah, so you got At the top, you got Chili's versus Red Lobster.
So let's go through each. You're in the Elite Eight. Let's go through each
Right.
one and just make our pick.
So Chili's versus Red Lobster would be the first, the top left of the bracket. So
I got to go Chili's on that one.
I got to go Chili's too. I love Red Lobster, but I feel like you could get better seafood elsewhere.
Agreed. And Chili's has got a lot of options.
Chili's is just a great American eatery.
Yeah, you get whatever you want to eat there.
So that's my first into the final four. Pluckers versus Outback. I've never heard of Pluckers.
Me either.
So
is that a regional thing or something that we're missing?
It might be.
I gotta go Outback.
So
there.
I got to go
Obviously,
Outback
given
too.
that
I mean,
we don't know what Pluckers is.
Yeah, it's a steakhouse. They got bloomin' onions. Phenomenal. So we both have Chili's and we both have Outback.
Okay.
So now in the bottom left, it's Capitol Grill versus Olive Garden. Being Italian, coming from Italian heritage, it would be a sin for me to pick Olive Garden because, as Brandon and I both attest, it's not true Italian food. It's an Americanized Italian chain.
Okay,
the
fair
food
enough.
the food is good,
But Olive Garden's delicious.
right? Their food is.
We're not judging. We're not
tastes
judging
good.
it on is it authentic Italian. We're just judging
Right.
it on would you.
But
rather
have you
eat
had
there.
Capitol Grill before?
I don't think I have actually.
It's
So
fucking phenomenal.
okay. Well, I'll defer to you on this.
So-
I love Olive Garden, but I'll defer to you.
So Olive Garden, yeah, I'm never going to turn it down because I don't
Nice.
turn food down
Really
easily,
great. I love it.
So I would go Capitol Grill though. So we would, I mean, you could go Olive Garden if you want, since you don't have an opinion on Capitol Grill.
I'll defer to you because
So-
we'll, for this one we'll be in consensus.
Okay, I like Capitol Grill. There's something about it just phenomenal. So we have Capitol Grill versus Chili's, and then we have
Okay.
Outback Steakhouse versus either Texas Roadhouse or Waffle House.
Oh, okay. I'm easily going Texas Roadhouse on that.
I'm gonna have to agree with you because Waffle House is one of those like 4 a.m. I'm hammered.
Yeah.
I just need to eat something, and IHOP's closed.
It's delicious when you're drunk and, like you said, it's 3-4 in the morning. It's delicious,
but,
but
when you're sober, you don't.
let's
go to
be
Waffle
honest. If
House.
we're ranking breakfast places, like Waffle House is way down. The
Waffle
list.
House is like IHOP couldn't get us in for like 6 hours. Village Inn couldn't. Get us
Denny's
in for
wasn't
6 hours.
available.
Denny's wasn't
Yeah.
available.
And all of your
King
favorite
Supers was out of toasted strudels.
Yeah. Okay. I guess we'll now go to Waffle
We'll
House.
go to
yeah.
Waffle House.
So Texas Roadhouse easily wins that one.
Okay.
To me, that's a landslide.
So now
That's
we
not
have
even
Chili's versus Capitol Grill, and we have Outback Steakhouse versus Texas Roadhouse.
close. Ooh. Okay.
So-
So let me do the Outback versus Texas Roadhouse one first because I haven't eaten at Capitol Grill. That's a tough one. I think I'm gonna have to go Texas Roadhouse.
So the thing that solidifies Texas Roadhouse for me is the buns.
The buns are
with
so
the butter.
good. They're so
you
good.
just can't. I mean, now with that being said, Outback does have good loaves of bread,
Yeah, for
They-
sure.
they
And
do have
Outback's
tasty-
great. I love Outback.
but
But also,
it's-
and I'm a big steak guy. I love ordering steaks at steakhouses. I think Texas Roadhouse has better steak.
I think they provide with more options
Yeah,
than Outback.
and their
does.
sides are fucking great.
Yeah.
So great.
So I agree. Texas Roadhouse will win that side of the bracket.
Okay.
Now we
so
have
that's
Capitol-
our finals matchup from that side.
Right. So now we have Capitol Grill and Chili's. I don't know. I feel like you can't go wrong with Chili's.
Dude, I love Chili's.
And
I go there all the time, and I'm never disappointed.
I get
in
their
Chili's.
Cajun pasta. It's fucking phenomenal.
Dude.
I'm getting really hungry talking about this, so I'm gonna have to
That-
order
that's the-
Chili's or something.
That's the thing is like you could go to Chili's, and if you want to eat Italian food and I want to eat Mexican food, we can both get that
Right.
at Chili's, and you
Or-
can get fries or chips and salsa or whatever you want.
Or you're like, I don't feel like any of this. I'm gonna get chicken fingers.
yeah, or a burger or whatever,
And
or
you
a
can get chicken
quesadilla,
fingers in
or-
like 8 different flavors
Yeah.
with different
or
dipping
wings.
sauces or wings.
They got everything there.
They got.
It's great.
So I would have to go Chili's over Capitol Grill.
Okay, so we got Chili's versus Texas Roadhouse.
I feel like it becomes one of those. I could eat steak every day. It's not good for me. I could do it.
Yeah.
Whereas Chili's gives you that diversity where you're like,
Chili's gives you the options. Roadhouse, I think, is higher quality.
yeah.
You know, I think I'm gonna have to go Roadhouse on this one.
I think it's tough. I like Texas Roadhouse, and I could eat steak every day.
Yeah.
I also love bread, so I could literally just go to Texas Roadhouse and eat the bread and butter
Yeah.
all day, and
And-
I would never be disappointed.
Right, and
with
keep
my
in
life.
mind you can get other stuff at Texas Roadhouse too. Like it doesn't have to be a steak.
Right.
Well, you can get a lot of really good chicken dishes and stuff there. I like to get like chicken fried chicken and stuff like
Oh
that.
yeah,
there.
it's always good.
Delicious.
That's a steakhouse food.
Yeah.
Like, that's part of what should be in a steak.
But also, I'm pretty sure you could order chicken fried chicken at Chili's, too. They
Probably
have
can.
literally everything
It's
at
an
Chili's.
endless menu.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I think I'm going to have to go Roadhouse. I think it's just higher quality. It's nothing against Chili's. I love Chili's, but I think
I have to agree
Roadhouse
with
wins
you
that
there.
matchup.
No, I think I have to agree with you on that one.
I think that's hilarious. So, I was Googling it while you were, like, bringing it up, and I ended up on the Barstool Sports, like, blog, and they're... It was back in March of this year, I guess, when the voting was open for it. And this guy wrote this entire article, like breaking down all the matchups. I mean, it's literally like a March Madness breakdown of the 64-team bracket. Like,
And it gives you...
I love it.
I got to make my decision based on this. I can't find... I thought they had one more, but I can't find it.
Of the pick two sort of things.
I can't find it.
Well, I really wanted to talk about... I was glad that we picked the action movie star pick two and the rest are going to come kill you game for the opening episode, because it was one of those things where I had sent it to you guys on Instagram and then we were all like sending back our votes, and then Caleb was calling us crazy. Who did he say he was voting for?
Didn't he have Maximus in it?
Yeah, he had Maximus and someone else. Here, I'll look it up real quick. But and I was like, this is one of those things where I feel like we could have an in-depth conversation about that's not just us sending messages back and forth on Instagram.
So Maximus and Luke Hobbs.
Yeah, see, I was like, dude, I disagree. And then he was talking about how we were tripping because we wanted to pick John Wick. I'm like, have you watched the John Wick movies?
Yeah. Well, so we also have in there, so you got to pick two that will defend you. All others will come and kill you. So you have Master Chief from Halo.
Oh, you found another one?
Yeah, it's in our same group chat.
Oh, shit. Lay that one on me.
So you have Master Chief from Halo, 10 of them.
God.
You have 100 assassins from Assassin's Creed. Yeah.
That's a serious issue.
You have 30 Captain Prices from the COD franchises. You have 2 dragons. I don't know what game they're from. You have 40 of the Mortal Kombat guys.
Damn, I love how they're playing with the numbers, too, because if you just picked one of each, it'd still be crazy.
You have... I don't know who this chick is from, but it's one with a massive fucking sword. It's very intimidating. It's fucking huge. You have 350 archers from Minecraft. And those guys fuck your shit up.
I've never played Minecraft.
They fuck your shit up.
You
Just
one.
ask Brandon about this. They'll shoot us into lava and you're just fucked. Yeah.
They're an issue.
You have 4, it looks like they're Rens from Star Wars.
Kylo Ren's?
Or not Kylo. No, sorry, not Reys.
Oh.
4 Reys from Star Wars.
Okay.
And then 2 of some dude I've never seen before.
Shit.
Oh, 2 Doom guys from the game Doom.
Okay. Well, I haven't played some of those. So that one's kind of hard. But Halo's one of my all-time favorite franchises, and the Master Chief is a badass.
Yeah.
You got, what was it, 30 Master Chiefs?
10 Master Chiefs, 30 Captain Prices.
Damn. I think I'm going to go with the Master Chiefs and... I want to pick the Assassins to be on my side, but I feel like...
You have to go with the Assassin. Imagine 100... So
all after
you haven't played all the Assassin's Creed.
No, see, right now I'm in the middle of playing Assassin's Creed 2, and what I did was... So I've never played any of them before this, so... Brandon talked to me about Ezio was his favorite character from that whole thing, and so I was asking him, okay, well, which one should I play at this point? Because I'm so far behind the 8 ball. There's been like a million games.
Right.
So I found the Ezio collection on the PlayStation Store. So right now I have Assassin's Creed 2, which I'm currently playing. Brotherhood is up next, and then I think it's Unity or something like that. That's the like Ezio trilogy. So I'm going to play through those. But... yeah, so I know a little bit about the Assassin's Creed world and stuff.
So maybe this will help your decision, because I'll tell you mine right now. I'll pick the Assassins, and I'm probably going to pick Captain Price just because I'm such a COD nut. But
dude, Captain Price is
my reasoning behind the Assassins is in Assassin's Creed, you go back in time. It's not like you're playing as the assassin, so we're going back in time. So it's... Right. You go back in time and
they're all set in the past, regardless of which character it is.
Right. So this assassin could be an assassin in modern day. So imagine a modern day assassin that has, the Assassin's Creed game type qualities. You have 100.
100 of them. And they have access to modern weapons.
And they have access to modern weapons.
And technology. Because
if people are going to sit there and be like, well, that's not how it's supposed to be played. I'm like, no, but that's how the games are played when you go back in time.
Yeah.
So if we go back in time to where something's coming at me now, we have a modern day assassin with 100 of them coming at me now that can jump off fucking skyscrapers into hay bales.
And they're also like,
and they're fine.
They're like masters at just being super sneaky and
Right.
being like disappearing into crowds and stuff. Okay, yeah, I think I'm gonna go to protect me 100 assassins from Assassin's Creed, and then I'm going with the Master Chiefs.
Yeah,
Because like, how many times has Master Chief saved the whole world
a lot.
and fought off alien invasions?
Master Chief's a tank.
And plus, he's in that like full armored suit that like can take all this
Yeah.
damage, and he's an expert at firing all of the weapons, both alien and human. He can fly all of the vehicles. You know, he can operate everything.
Insane.
He can jump from like incredibly high distances and land and be totally fine. I'm going the Master Chiefs and the Assassins on
Yeah,
that one.
I feel like those.
I think that one you don't have
top
to
three
overthink it.
No.
I think the next option would be Captain Price.
Yeah.
From
100%.
Savage from Call of Duty.
But those are like all the pick fours I could find.
I think those were
Or
good.
pick twos, not
I think
pick
those were-
fours.
Yeah. We really broke down the action movie one. And then we went on a giant tangent about movies.
CGI.
And then brought it back and eventually went over the rest of our pick twos. But those are fun games, dude. I love those.
Well, we'll have to pull out our bracket of... I should have it on here. Let me see if I can find that bracket sometime.
Our franchise bracket?
Yeah, and we can pull
I think that should be a whole episode. I think next time we
'Cause-
sit down and do one of these, we'll go through our movie franchise bracket.
Oh, I think I have it right here.
So the two of us sat down. I think we were leaving a Marvel movie or something, and I started thinking about. I was like, "Have you guys ever thought about how many franchises there are in Hollywood?" And then we started listing them all, and then we started ranking them, and then we put them into a bracket to decide the ultimate movie franchise.
Right, and these are all, to clarify, these are just franchises. We're not basing this on action we're just
any franchise.
Any franchise out there.
And I think we considered a franchise more than 3 movies, right?
I think we said 3 or more.
Yeah, because 3 is a trilogy. So if they had 3 or less, it was like not a franchise.
Right, so you can't have one.
Because technically, John Wick is not a franchise in our definition of it for that sake of it. But we could
make it because I feel
change
like
the clarification.
I feel like the amount of movie franchises there are, we kind of ran. Oh, so I have the full bracket.
I have it too, saved somewhere if you want to pull it up. But we need to save this for another episode because this could be a whole thing.
Yeah, so we had.
And we had a whole 64 team bracket of franchises.
Yeah,
right?
I have it literally right here. So what we'll post this shit for you to fucking look at it.
Yeah.
And give us opinions on. We could post it for no one. Get our opinions
for our 0
back,
listeners so far.
and then we'll talk about it.
Yeah. Well, didn't we try posting it on Reddit?
I posted it on Reddit, and
response and
just had.
I don't know how to
Reddit,
use Reddit really. I'm on Reddit all the time, but I'm one of those they consider lurkers. I don't ever really post anything because I don't know how it works. But
what we can do
is... I love that bracket we built out because you start talking about franchises. I mean, movie fans, there's one thing movie fans love. It's major blockbuster franchise movies.
So we'll post this, and then hopefully, even if it's just our family or close friends can fill this shit out, we'll fucking dig into it.
Because it would be interesting, I think, because we've had a handful of our friends fill it out already, and we've seen who we ultimately came up with as, champion.
Right.
But it'd be interesting to see from, a wider variety of people filling out, looking at all of the franchises and picking the winners of each matchup, and then eventually ending up with their ultimate franchise.
And
I'd be curious to see what people think.
Because if someone hasn't seen, there's 64. We've literally filled out a 64 team bracket.
A lot of franchises.
So there's some in here that you're going to sit there and be like, well, those aren't full franchises because we couldn't find a full 64, so we found the best we could.
Yeah.
I think, some people out there are going to be like, I haven't seen half of those. I haven't even seen 10 of those. And it's like, all right, well, just based on the title, or you can do some research.
Based on whatever you've seen or heard. Yeah.
Fill out the bracket, which means if you have so for me, Harry Potter is already in the national championship, already won. The other 3 I could probably fill out pretty quickly. So Marvel, that includes the entire Marvel universe.
Are we getting into it already, or are we saving?
I feel like we should save it. All right, let's save it.
We should save it.
We'll save it. But the teaser is, I'll give you our top 4 seeds: Star Wars, Marvel, Lord of the Rings, and The Hobbit together.
Yeah.
and Harry Potter. Those will be our top 4 seeds. We'll post this bracket. You can go through it. You can, comment on all this shit. And then in one of our next episodes, we will dig deep into just this fucking bracket and explain.
Yeah, because I love this.
We could literally go choice by choice through this bracket and explain our reasonings. And,
because it's actually kind of remarkable when I look at it how many of them I've actually seen, either most, if not all, of the movies in that franchise.
And then you realize how much of your life you've sat and watched a TV screen.
How much of my life have I wasted watching the Transformers franchise? But hey, I love movies. That's what I like, and give me all of the new movies in my favorite franchises.
And it really all becomes, personal preference on what you like from movies. Right. So it'll be interesting to see what other people feel.
Yeah, because I think we seeded these. We didn't really have a lot of measurements in terms of. They're all seeded based on total box office gross or total ranking of the. Like the average ranking of the movies in terms of how many stars they got out of 10 or whatever.
I think part of it came into is your opinion and my opinion.
Yeah.
So, because
a lot of it was like how big we thought the franchises were. Because I think there's no real arguing that Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, and Marvel are the biggest franchises you could possibly think of, in terms of popularity.
So it becomes one of those, and, we can make edits to this. We can update it.
I think we do need to re-rank. I think we should go through and re-rank
before we post it.
Like come up with 1 through 16 seeds for every quadrant.
But we'll post it, and we want everyone's feedback. And then
everyone, meaning the 5 people who are going to listen to this.
And 2 of them are going to be the people that are talking to you right now. But give us your feedback. And we're going to nitpick every choice. Now, some we're going to be able to be like, easy. I'm in, I'm out, we're moving on.
Yeah, some of them are really obvious.
Some, we might have different opinions, and it could be powerful opinions to where it's like...
Right. Like, I'm going to make my pitch, you're going to make your pitch, and I'm going to tell you why yours is dumb.
And if I haven't seen one, I'm going to be like, that's fine. Yeah. I've never seen it, so...
Yeah. Kind of like the ones on the restaurant one where we just went through. Like, I haven't eaten there. Right. I'll defer to you. Whatever. I don't know. I can't make an opinion.
But if it comes down to like Harry Potter against Star Wars, well, that could be a 10-hour episode of a debate that neither one of us is going to back down.
Neither one of us are budging.
No. So it's going to become, all right, we got to just say, hey, maybe we have 6 viewers at this time. We need 4 to win. Vote Star Wars or Harry Potter.
Have a poll. Yeah.
And if you vote Harry Potter, you might get a thank you in the mail.
I like it. So that's going to be, I don't know if it's going to be exactly next episode, but one of our future episodes. That's what we're going to do is break down the movie franchise bracket, because that's the type of shit that I love. Like, I will literally, we went through all of this, built the whole thing, went through the exercise of picking our winners just for fun.
Right.
So it's a perfect idea for something like this for a podcast, because I can sit here and talk about this stuff for a long time.
And I want to see what other people feel about
I love seeing
this shit.
Yeah, what people think about these different franchises.
And it'd be cool if we could create like an interactive bracket, post it on our Podbean site.
Yeah.
To where people could go on to Podbean, click our podcast, and fill out the bracket, and we could use it off of there.
Yeah.
Which I think would be phenomenal.
Yeah.
And it would be fucking fun. We're going to be able to dig deep into this, because we're going to be able to talk about 64 franchises right off the rip, a lot of movies, and then we'll be talking about 32. And I guarantee the Sweet 16 is going to take us 40 minutes to talk about.
Yeah, once you start getting down to the real big heavy hitter franchises,
it becomes difficult.
It's not obvious,
and it becomes.
And they're all movies that you love,
And if we want to do it the right way, which I think we should, it's got to be all personal based, because there's no right or wrong answer when it comes to this.
Exactly.
So when you fill it out, make it be.
There is a right answer. It's obviously Star Wars.
Well, and see, this is where you're wrong, because Harry Potter.
Matt, we're not getting into this. This is a future episode.
Harry Potter didn't take 50 years to master. Harry Potter took the first 5 minutes of the movie.
Star Wars is the greatest franchise ever created in the history of Hollywood. I think
all right, so this will be a future episode. And if you hear screaming in the background and we are going to blows.
Yeah, it's a future episode. You feel good about this one?
I feel good.
About our initial episode?
It's been an hour and 45 minutes.
We went hard.
Yeah.
My back hurts. I need to get up.
Yeah, I need to go let the dog out.
All right. Should we wrap?
Let's wrap.
All right. Thanks for tuning in, everyone.
Yeah. We'll post this shit for you. Don't suck.